Bienvenidos, damas y caballeros. Welcome back to Freeform Radio on that Freeform Network. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook and X at Freeform Network. Send in questions and suggestions, ffnquestions at gmail.com. But again, this is Freeform Radio. We got today Andy.
It's all good, Andy. I want to thank you guys for joining us this week, and we're glad to be here.
And we have Noel.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you again for joining us here. Hopefully, this is a good one, a special one for y'all.
Heck yeah. And this is Daniel coming through today, man. We're trying some new software out. Dang Skype and Microsoft, but hopefully everything seems seamless to everybody out there. So we'll get this podcast rolling. I'm going to come in hot. Andy, I got a question for you, man. 100 men or one gorilla? Who wins that battle, man? It was kind of it was on Twitter for a minute. I'm not sure if you even saw it, Noel. Who wins, man? Who wins that battle royal?
Andy?
Yeah, I mean, I saw it on Twitter. It was trending for a while. It depends who the 100 men that are selected against that gorilla, but I think we would have a shot if it's some quality, high value men there. I mean, if you put some average Joes, I think we're in trouble.
What about you, Noel? Who wins, man? 100 men or one gorilla?
If it's 100 men at one time and they have like time to strategize, yeah, I give it 100 men. I'm not gonna say they're gonna come out easy. They're probably a lot of them gonna die, but or get at least injured. But I think they go for the eyes, the groin, the anus, all the orifices. Yeah, it's gonna mess it up.
Damn, man. Sounds like a high fatality count. But yes, man, sounds kind of messy and kind of crazy. But Andy, let's jump into your topics for today. Trade war, that's been kind of messy in talks. So fill us in on what you know, man.
Yeah, and last episode I kind of talked about the trade wars the U.S. has been in since Trump took office. But as the time of this recording, there was news break that they agreed to some terms or to the terms of this discussion for with the arch nemesis China, because they already struck a couple deals with UK and some other countries. And I think India, they're pretty close to wrapping that up. And China's just left there, and it goes to show. I don't know how much you guys watch. I've been keeping an eye on it because China's it's a superpower without a doubt, and um, they control basically the world's manufacturing. And a lot of the people in China, I think for the first time, the companies or whatever you want to call it, the government-owned companies or subsidized companies, a lot of them are shutting down or they're furloughing people. There's layoffs. They're selling off um, their equipment. I've been seeing these videos for the last month. I think they finally got impacted um, by what America's been through in some other countries when you compete with cheap labor because everybody wants America's buying power. They kind of figured out even if they spread it out and other countries buy more, they're going to be in a slump. So there was like videos of factory management people saying, they got people like when things are slow, they're cleaning the factory. They're like, making everything nice and neat because there's nothing else to do. And in the meantime, the warehouses are full with inventory and nobody's buying anything because of the tariffs. So, and then there's some deals in the works where I think iPhone's gonna make stuff in India now. They're moving all the production, they're spreading it out. There's even talks maybe in the US. So we'll see what happens. But I don't know how much you guys you've been following it. This did have the what people don't talk about it. The news media. China's economy is kind of struggling right now with the housing and the some other issues. And now with this, the people being out of work, and then they also have issues with young people not working. They go to schools and they're not getting jobs. So they're like, what are we doing here? And a lot of them are struggling the what to do. And the China's CCP leader is uh, not that he's having issues within the communist party there, but some people are questioning his leadership and what he's doing. So, again, going back to you guys, have you guys heard anything about that, or are you guys keeping up with that?
I think all this trade stuff is very interesting because it creates a restructuring. For a lot of years, the U.S. has been tariffed ourselves when we send stuff out to other countries. So I think this kind of just brings everything to a little more even playing field. Um, the U.S., like all may or many people may know, we pay a reasonable rate for our employees, or what the government believes to be reasonable rate. But yes, so we're kind of at a disadvantage as far as other countries go. So I think India is going to come out being a lot stronger from this because a lot of the assembly fabrication is shifting over to India. So I think India is going to get a big boom out of this. And you're right, China is kind of struggling their economy, like many other people, even the U.S. Um, Things seem fine now, but it was kind of dicey for a minute at the start of the year. So yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting things coming out of this. A lot of stuff that's being theorized to come back to the U.S. for manufacturing, but man, that takes years to come. 4 or 5 years before production can get ramped up, before we can start making it. And by that time, we have a new president, and who knows if the next president's going to even keep this mandate going. So we might just be looking at a reshuffling again in 4 years.
Yeah, and good news, Sony's gonna be making the PlayStation in the US again, so that's nice. But no, going off of what you were saying with the president, I also heard that they were trying to talk about election, or what is it called, terms being extended. So I'm curious to know whether or not there's any traction with that, if that's even a possibility for Trump to get a third term. That would be interesting. But
He
overall, it's
came
just,
out. He came out last weekend saying that he's not going to do it. In an interview, I think with NBC Meet the Press, they asked him specifically. Says, "No, I'm not going to do that." I think it was just he was just messing with people.
oh, gotcha. Okay. Well, then, yeah, you're right. It could all just pretty much change overnight if a different president doesn't like that policy that's being set up right now. So curious to see how it affects our just everything over here. I hear all the stuff about going in China and India, all that, but ultimately, what matters to me is like, are we going to get some relief in the future? Because prices are still high on a lot of things, and that's my main concern right now.
Hey, Andy, you have a unique point of view. You work a lot in shipping and dealing with international. Has all this China trade thing, has that impacted? Are you starting to see it on bill of lading charges and stuff like that?
Nah, not really, because we're not importing anything. We do a lot of exporting. So the paperwork, just going into like Canada, we do notice a lot of stuff is being more and more held at customs. They're being very picky on the paperwork on certain goods, but other than that, everything is the Canadians. We would get the orders kind of trickled, like got really slow, and then it picked up. Then after this election that they had up in Canada, right, like the week or two, it kind of got better. He was given this the president or prime minister or whatever up there was saying, like, he was very anti-American. Says he don't need us yet. As soon as he got elected, he was having a meeting with Trump a couple days later after he won the election, and he was very friendly with them. So I don't know if it was just campaign rhetoric or what that was, but yeah, I mean, and then there's talks about part of Canada, Western Canada, want to leave and come to the U.S. and Trump was indulging them, or I don't know if he was just like, yeah, it's cool, but I don't know if he would really do that. But it is what it is. Just but getting real back, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what China does because this people are realizing now how much of an impact this has had on our country, how we rely on this country and the other side of the world. They have more leverage than we thought, and Trump kind of he's doing his chess game, and right now he's a couple steps ahead of him. But we'll see what happens. Because the Chinese, I was listening to this podcast. The Chinese have they have a strategy when you deal with the U.S. So they know Trump is there for 4 years. They're doing this. They usually do this long play, delay, get into very like technical how we use certain words and what the language and all this, and then they really kind of start negotiating. They try to write it out into the next election, and then but they the tariffs they really I think has had a big impact on them, and I think they weren't going to try to hold out because this has impacted their economy big time, and I think that's why they're trying to get a resolution quickly. So I think that this is the complete 180 this analyst says that China's ever done. Even with the first term with Trump, they did some tariff reciprocal stuff. They thought when Biden would get in, it might reverse him, or they could work something on Trump. Not Trump. President Biden continued the tariff, so we'll see what happens. It's long play, like you said. The strategy is, to me personally, I think this has to be done because they've done war games and stuff like that. If we go into war with China, we're like screwed because we won't have supply chains, so we won't be able to build stuff. It's going to take a while to ramp up, and I think Trump, they're all gearing up for this because this is going to be, who knows, 10 years, 15 years. This is going to come to a head, and this is just right now it's economic warfare, and the Chinese have been doing it for years. And some of what Trump says is true. Like they got us. They have. Remember what he told Zelensky? You don't have any cards, and China had some cards against the U.S. So, and Trump's using what we can do is we got money, we're ready to spend it. You know what? We're not buying it because people they know it's gonna be more expensive, so they're gonna look at other places. So, and China kind of fell for it, man. I think that they were maybe thought they were bluffing or something, but Trump's a little erratic sometimes. He's gonna Trump. But the other thing I wanted to talk about, I don't know if you guys saw last night, is this recording that ship that hit the Brooklyn Bridge. Did you guys see that at all? I saw something last night before I went to bed, and this morning now they're reporting it is like there's more news and information coming up. Did you guys get a chance to see that in the news as of this recording?
I did see the headline and I saw a picture of this ship hitting the bridge, but I didn't
Mm-hmm.
see like the aftermath. I didn't see like, who was injured or anything like that.
Yeah.
I heard reports of two having died and like
Mm-hmm.
almost
Mm-hmm.
almost 20 injured. So that's crazy that it would even happen. It just doesn't make any sense, honestly.
No, I
Did you
didn't.
get a chance to read it? See anything, Danny?
No, to be honest, I haven't seen the news this morning. I usually watch it Monday through Friday before work, but on the weekends I usually stay news silent. So, and I don't really go on social media too much. So, no, this is the first time hearing. So this is just recent that it just happened.
Yeah, it happened last night. So I saw the first videos. This like it's the night. There's this ship on the Brooklyn Bridge, underneath the Brooklyn Bridge, and you see like, oh man, that the mast is really high. So the top two masts hit the underneath the bridge, and I'm just like, oh okay. I didn't think nothing of it. Like, and the other thing, it had like a huge Mexican flag on there, so I don't know what all that was about. But this morning, yeah, I read there was some deaths, a lot of injuries, and there was more video popping up. So apparently on the mast, they had people standing on there. I don't know if you guys knew that. Like the top two bars rolling across, there was like people standing up on them, and then they were still standing there when the top of the boat hit the mast. So that was like holy shit. So that was crazy, and now it's turning into like a search and rescue. And allegedly now they're saying something was wrong with the ship, something got stuck or something failed, and they had no control, no way of stopping it. So that's what they were saying as of this morning. and of course all the memes and stuff were coming out because they had the Mexican flag. So um, yeah, man, it sucks. We'll see what happens. Obviously, when you I saw that, I'm like, oh man, this guy can't stop, or the captain jumped ship like in Italy, like something happened, like they had no control, and then it looks like something got stuck or something failed, and they had no control of the ship, so it just kept floating, and they had no way to stop it or drop anchors or anything. I don't know. I'm not a captain, so so I don't know that that's. It's gonna be interesting to see what's gonna come of it because with all the stuff going on right now in the country and with the big Mexican flag, which it was nice. It was a huge flag, but I'm like, I don't know what all this is about. I don't even know what they were doing there.
Yeah, with all the aviation and ship stuff, man, it really starts making me think if infrastructure is being maintained and kept, our budget's being cut so much, not so much by the president, because I know the president cut a lot of stuff for the government, but just in general, like upkeep. Like if you don't do stuff to your house, like if you don't keep up with maintenance on your house, yeah, your house is going to slowly start to decay. Are we keeping our infrastructure up for communication to ships, ship maintenance, bridges, stuff like that? So it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, man. Let us know what you think at ffnquestions@gmail.com. What did you guys think of the footage, or what do you think is going on with the trade wars? Um, so we'll try to see if there's an update. I'll let everybody know. But let's transition something. Finished the ill-fated season 7 of Castle. I mean, I think we've been talking about Castle for like 3 episodes now. Uh, what did you finally watch it? I thought you said you weren't, if I remember from the last episodes, but what happened, man?
So like I had to see it through till at least what the fans consider a proper ending. So they actually have 8 total seasons. I only watched 7 though. Everybody, well, not everybody, but the majority of the fans say that season 7 is the better of the endings. Pretty much like the last couple seasons, they didn't know if they were going to get renewed, so they kind of ended a couple seasons ago where they said like this would be a good ending. But then they got renewed, and then that ended up being the last season. And unfortunately, that one is kind of a cliffhanger, and people said it just wasn't as good. So ultimately, I'm like, all right, I've made it my way through. The mysteries were cool. The ride was fun, but it's over now. We're here. It's over, and I'm happy. I'm done with it. Um, I would still recommend people watch it. I know I did mention it a few episodes ago. It's got an 8.1 out of 10 on IMDb, so it is a successfully highly rated show. Um, and it was cool to see it through. I actually got a couple of good ideas out of it for like stories of my own. And just the whole mystery genre is an awesome genre. You don't see like at least in now, I can't really think of any modern, currently airing mystery shows like that. I think the last one was like, well, there's the CSIs and the NCISs, I guess, but those have been going on for so long. Nothing fresh that I could think of. So this was like the more recent, something fresh for me. But yeah, it was pretty decent.
Not a fan of Law and Order, Noel.
Law
Any
and
of them?
Order,
Or
it's not that
Chicago
I'm not.
PD?
I just never watched them, I guess. And those are still going on, right? Chicago PD, that's been on for what, like
As
five
far as
years
I know,
plus?
yeah. I
Yeah.
know my mom watches it. That's the only reason I never seen them, but my mom watches them. There was like three of them at Chicago, the fire department one, and I think there was like a Chicago hospital one or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking the next one I'll watch is The Rookie. That one's with the same actor from Castle. So I'm gonna check that out. It's kind of like an alternate universe where instead of a writer, he became like a cop. So it'd be interesting to see that. But yeah, that was pretty much it for that. I also watched Final Destination. I don't know if you guys remember this movie.
Ooh,
Um,
the new
eh,
one, Bloodline, or what's it called though?
no, the OG man, the
Oh,
very
okay.
first one. Yeah, no, this is the old school one with the guy from Casper.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
The new one looks interesting. I mean, I don't know if it's, $10 movie theater interesting, but it does sound pretty cool, the new one.
Yeah, it's let me look it up real quick. It does seem to be doing fairly well in IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes and all that. It's actually got a pretty decent score right now, which is surprising for a horror movie or somewhat horror.
But the OG, that one is definitely a good one too.
Yeah, I mean that's what started it all, right? So, I got it on Blu-ray, and it's the first. I got the whole collection or whatever, minus the newest one, the Bloodlines. But yeah, this old one with Devon Sawa, Ali Larter, Tony Todd made an appearance, Kerr Smith, Sean William Scott from American Pie. So it's got a pretty recognizable cast from the 90s and early 2000s. This actually came out in March of 2000. So I was probably like 12, almost 12 years old when I was watching this, and it was like pretty creepy as a kid watching it. And honestly, even as an adult, it still packs a punch because of the concept um, that death is the enemy. Death is like almost like an entity that's trying to claim your soul, right? Claim your life. And so you're on the run from an invisible, almost unstoppable force. So that's kind of like, how do you battle that? It's not your typical horror movie where there's a evil man or evil creature or something like that, where it's like a tangible something you could see coming and strategize and defend yourself and get help with. Everybody seems like they're on their own because you don't know how you're going to die, but you know your turn is coming. And just the thought of that, being locked into that sequence of events, seeing your death, escaping it, and now you're on the run forever until you die, and it could be any moment. And that's like, that feeling is still there, like it related to when I was a kid, and I was like, man, if something like that were to happen now, I'd still probably be scared, or not scared, but I'd be like definitely tense and worried. Do you guys remember this one at all?
Yeah,
I don't. I don't. I might have seen it like when I was on cable or something, but I don't remember it.
no, the OG one is good, man. Even some of the sequels are pretty good, but yeah, this one with the airplane and then just how they try to figure out the order of the sequence. And I know that as the series evolved, they came up with different, slightly tweaks to the rules, but how death takes you in the order that you were supposed to die, and yeah, it was pretty neat. We actually watched this not too long ago, maybe like 3 months ago. Uh, and yeah, man, it still holds up. It's very cool. And the new one, like I mentioned, it's got me excited to maybe go check that one out.
And that one
Yeah.
has a lot of sequels, right? Like four of them, or
Yeah,
Uh,
I gotta say it's
I
quite
want
a
to
bit. Yeah,
right? And
I
like
want
a
to say
lot
it's
of
like
direct to
five or
video.
six.
Yeah.
yeah, that sounds about right. I know it's quite a few.
Yeah, I do have the whole collection. I can go over it and check in a second, but yeah, I want to say it's about six, Bloodline being either six or seven, so right around there. But I'm glad you mentioned it. Now I'm gonna have to put that on my radar, and maybe the next episode I'll give my review of that one.
Sweet man.
But yeah, going along with the movie watching stuff, I actually watched Jason Goes to Hell, the newest Arrow 4K release. So I might have mentioned I watched the Friday the 13th, the reboot with Jared Padalecki from Supernatural, but I don't remember mentioning this one. It was very recent that I bought this. It just came out recently. Arrow released it, I want to say in April, and so, or like late April, early March, May, sorry. And I don't know if I mentioned Arrow's releases before, but they are actually just really high quality, and their packaging is like really something to give credit to for Arrow. They package it in a cool way with good cover art. If you're a collector of physical media, you'll appreciate that, and you'll appreciate the time and effort they put into their releases. And sometimes they have like bigger releases that have booklets and pictures and photos and little memorabilia things to go along with it, along with extra discs of special features and all that stuff. So it was really cool to see that for that treatment, for Jason Goes to Hell, which is arguably one of my favorite of the franchise. And I want to say this is number nine in the series. Yep, number nine because Jason X came out after that. So the ninth movie in the series, and it's arguably one of the best ways to end it off on. And up till Jason X, that was the ending for many years. I want to say it was in '96 this came out, and Jason X didn't come out until I think in the 2000s. So it was for a good while, good stretch of time that Jason Goes to Hell was the last of the series, and what a way to end it. Have you guys ever watched this one?
Is this the one where at the very end we get the little cameo from Friday from Nightmare on Elm Street?
It is Freddy Krueger who grabs his
The mask.
yeah, the hockey mask. He grabs it and drags it back to hell because it was the only thing that was left behind.
Yeah, no, I do remember this. Is this the one also the one where that mortician or the guy that does the post examinations of the bodies where he eats the heart? Is this that movie?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, yeah, I remember this.
I don't
yeah.
think you remember now. I think we saw this in the theater.
Holy smokes, another
We
one,
saw
Andy?
it at
Come on,
the
man.
Brickyard.
I know after the last podcast where you mentioned I'm forgetting all these movies that we watched together, and it did start kind of hitting me. I used to always make fun of my parents how they forget a bunch of stuff, and I was always like I could remember details, but man, I totally don't remember this watching this in the
Yeah, I
theater.
remember because I'm not a big fan of the Jason shit, and I think it was me, you, and maybe Dave. But I don't. I'm trying to remember which theater I want. The thing that popped in my head right away was Brickyard, and then like we were when the hand comes up and takes the mask, like the place went nuts, and then so that's the only thing I remember from that fucking movie. And then that's what, and then yeah, that we saw it in a theater. So the only thing I'm not remembering is what theater, and the only thing that popped in my head is Brickyard. And I don't even know if they have a theater there, or I can't remember. Maybe it was one off of Harlem and Irving somewhere over there in Norwich.
Yeah, I think they still have AMC in Norwich. Maybe that's where you guys went. Hmm.
Yeah, I don't remember. I remember the theater, and I remember the hand on the mask, and I remember the place went fucking nuts. And then everybody's like, "We're gonna give it," and everybody was talking like Freddy versus Jason. That's gonna be the next movie. That's gonna be the next movie. And then like it never really happened, right? I think the next one he went to space, right? And then like
Yeah.
Dan, I remember giving Danny a hard time. He goes to fucking space. Like what's going on here? And then so yeah, that's like the only thing I remember. That's the only reason I remember them was just because we saw it at the theater and the thing at the end.
Yeah, Jason X, that one went in space and all that, that was like the most cheesy movie you could have, I think.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Leprechaun in space or Leprechaun in the Hood. Like it just went off the rails there. But thankfully they brought it all together with Freddy versus Jason. That was like a redeemable movie.
Did they do that movie? When did they
They
make
did do
that
it.
one?
Yeah,
That
man.
was 2006 or something like that.
Oh, okay. So okay, 20 years ago almost. But
That's
yeah.
that's an awesome movie. That's a really good one.
Yeah, man. That one when they released that 4K, you better believe I'm getting that too. They did release Jason X, but like I said, that one wasn't really my favorite, so I didn't end up picking that one up. They do have like a premium price, so I'm not gonna pick up something that's not really near and dear. But Jason Goes to Hell, definitely near and dear. It's one of the better ones of the franchise. And I do recommend anybody that wants to check it out. 4K upgraded, looks very, very good for the time period that it was made in. Really high quality HDR, the whole works. But that's gonna be it for my week right there. Let's shift it over to you, Daniel. And it looks like I'm assuming you've been watching some shows, or at least a documentary. It says House of Saddam.
Yeah, man. This is a HBO show that came out quite a few years ago. Obviously after the Saddam Hussein and his Iraq stuff. But yeah, man, HBO made this. I think it was like 4 to 6 episodes, so not too long of a mini series. But it kind of goes into a dramatic recreation of his rise to power, his dealings in Iraq, and then the U.S. coming in and taking him out of power. And then it ends obviously with his death, where he got hung. But this was a very cool I kind of question how much of it is real, how much of it is drama that's created for the TV show. Even the last episode where they kind of show him on the run, they kind of do make mention. He's just like, this is what we believe how it transpired from our notes, interrogations, information, CIA, stuff like that. So it looks like they do kind of make up some of the stuff at the end to the best of their ability. But I gotta say, it was a pretty good TV show. Watched it with Alana. She enjoyed it as well, and it kind of just shows them coming up and kind of going back down. Um, do you recall the Iraq stuff, Andy, when this was
Yeah,
happening?
I've seen this.
A lot of it, even the true life events, is still kind of new in my brain, where I remember the events as they were happening and the different parts where he was invading Kuwait and just a bunch of the milestones that the show goes through. I still remember. You mentioned you watched this one.
Yeah, I got it on DVD. I think the most intriguing part was with the rise to power, and then they kind of always like were dealing with like his background from what part of Iraq he was, or like whatever tribe, or
Yeah, his upbringing.
that was like he was very like they talk about it a lot with his mom, if I remember. But throughout his rise of power, he got his family members, and when he has that parliament meeting or whatever, and he's like, "We have traitors among us," and he's reading out names, and people just going nuts for him. And it's like, man, I hope he doesn't call me because you hear him being shot and stuff. That whole scene that really happened. They have a recording of that, and I think that stuck when a lot of the people there, the citizens, they're like, "Oh shit, like this is gonna be different," like, and they started falling in line quick. And the only other scene his sons, which one of them was like evil, and then the other one was where he takes that guy's wife, right? And the guy's like, "Don't worry, man, we're gonna compensate you. Like, we know this is messed up or something, right?" And like, and then the whole thing with the Iraq War. I think the first one where the Americans don't cross into Iraq, where they retreat, and Saddam's like, "We won, we held them off," and everybody's like, "Oh, okay." And then the second the downfall where they go in there, and you know and yeah, I mean it's an old. There was a miniseries on HBO. It was really good. I thought it was really good. A lot of British actors. Um, but yeah, the ending. I remember. I think they were taking liberties, and I remember the some of the in the show the discussions where he gasses, or he's like, wipe that town, like just destroy them all, and he gasses those people. And I was just like, man, this is like messed up.
Yeah, no, it was a very good documentary or docu series drama. Did you ever watch this, Noel?
No, definitely didn't. I don't know too much because that's time period. Like I was still, it wasn't even in my radar, man, as a kid, like learning about all that stuff. But I do know that there's like a lot of conflicting information about Saddam, about Gaddafi, about a lot of these people in the Middle East or Western Asia. Um, I don't really want to get into depth though, because like it's like another it's a tangent. So let's stay on topic here.
No, for sure. I recommend the TV show. It was very well put together. HBO puts a lot of good TV shows together.
They
Uh,
used to, not as much now, but yeah.
what are you talking about? Right now they got the Last of Us, man, and that's rocking right now. So
All I know is people got pissed because it was trending because of this last episode. People were just bitching up a storm on Twitter. So I don't know what, or sorry, X. I don't know what happened, but yeah.
yeah, it is diverging a little bit from the TV show. So some people are not too happy, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see how the Last of Us wraps up. I got a few more weeks before the end. But yeah, back to House of Saddam. Uh, was a good miniseries. Recommended for you guys to go out there and check it out. Something else that I watched was the Netflix documentary. Well, I don't think Netflix produced it, but it's on Netflix right now. 137 shots. Not sure if you guys checked this one out, but this is with where two motorists were trying to be pulled. They were trying to pull them over. They finally end up stopping, and the police fired 137 shots into the cars, killing the two passengers. And then this documentary goes into the events and how it all transpired. It happened in Cleveland back in 2012. Um, Not sure if you remember this, Noel. This might be a little outside what you typically hear or see. I know, Andy, you probably know this for sure. Noel, any recollection of this?
No, that one's not ringing a bell.
Yeah, yeah, I know this is it's not too publicized in the news too much. But Andy, do you remember seeing this or remember the event?
Nah, this is news to me. I mean, I'm trying to remember, look it up. I don't see anything.
Oh wow.
I don't recall any of this. Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, I remember when it happened back in 2012, Cleveland, uh, where the two pedestrians were killed. The documentary goes into the events, how 60 police cars were involved in the chase downtown Cleveland, and they chased down the car, and then they basically like surround it, and everybody starts firing, so much so that they believe that the reason there was 137 shots fired is because the police were they encountered friendly fire because they were surrounding the car. So as they were getting friendly fire, they thought the car was still shooting at them. So they continue fired, and then the other side thought they were still shooting at them. So they continue firing, and before you know it, this car is just riddled with bullet holes. Um, and then even one of the police officers, the one guy that did get um, sent to trial, Mike Brello, I think is the guy's name. He actually jumps on top of the car and just starts shooting directly into it. So it is nuts how this all transpired. Went to court, went to trial, and the other key thing about this whole event of these two people being killed is that they brought like 6 or 8 cops to testify, the cops that were in this event, other police officers that were there. And it was one of the only times in case trials where they all pleaded the fifth and nobody testified as far as this whole event. So it was really nuts and crazy on how this all transpired. It's a good documentary that kind of puts it together. The other part that I kind of like is that it kind of leaves a little bit up to you to kind of figure out. It doesn't really sway you too much, other than the radio host. The radio host is blatantly against the police officers, but for the most part, it shows a lot of both sides. And I kind of dig those kind of documentaries that kind of lets you kind of figure it out on your own. But pretty good documentaries. It's on Netflix, but I don't believe Netflix put this together. It's kind of an older documentary, so not sure who actually puts this together. But yeah, you might want to check this one out. The last thing I'll say before I turn over to the article is I watched Trading Places, man. I'm sure, no, Andy, you probably watched this for sure, but Noel, you
The
probably
Home Show,
no. Trading Places, the movie
Eddie Murphy movie.
with Eddie Murphy and
Yeah,
Aykroyd. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I'm sure you've seen this, Noel. This is probably maybe too old for you. I'm not sure if you've seen this at all.
Oh no, I like that one. Yeah, with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh yeah, man. Dude, man, I didn't know she was so naked in this movie. I totally like forgot all the high points of this movie, and I was rewatching it, and I'm just like, damn, this chick is like naked like throughout this whole movie. So not sure if uh you know if a lot of people recall this movie. It's been a minute since it came out, but really really cool movie. Goes through the whole fiasco of these two different people, one being a homeless guy and one being a rich tycoonish person. And yeah, the premise of the movie is that they switch and trade positions in their status of life and how the movie transpires. Really funny, really good. Eddie Murphy, really young. Dan Aykroyd as well. He's a young character. A bunch of old or young actors in this old movie that when I was watching it, I'm like, oh, that's Gus, the guy from Breaking Bad. He's in it. There's a bunch of different actors that when you were watching it, you were like, oh, damn, that's a young this and a young that. So really cool watching it. Uh, did you like this movie, Andy?
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it, but it's hilarious. Eddie Murphy's like in his prime, I want to say. In those early 80 movies, he had a big run, and then but yeah, that one, and Coming to America, um, Beverly Hills Cop. Those were all like just a bunch of uh, and that's his heyday, man. Coming off SNL and all that. Yeah, that movie's hilarious.
48 hours.
Yeah, 48 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another
Yeah,
good
I
one.
mean, it's prime, prime Eddie Murphy.
Yeah,
What I like too is Coming to America is kind of like in the same universe as Trading
Hmm.
Places
yeah,
because you see the same characters in there.
yeah, for sure. I was thinking the same thing after I watched it. Because it had been so long since I've watched Trading Places, but I just watched Coming to America maybe like a year ago, and I was just like, yeah, what is the deal with those two old guys? I kind of remember something, but I don't remember the details. And watching Trading Places just recently, it reminded me. I'm like, yes, now I got to go back and watch Coming to America again, and maybe I'll get a little more of the context of what was going on. But yeah, man, awesome movie, Trading Places. Seems kind of rushed and the ending part. Um, and I still, to this day, I don't understand the trading place, the trading part at the very end of the movie when they're trading stocks. I don't understand how that works at all. It just seemed chaotic, and they're just like sell buy. I don't even understand how
It's
that.
like an 80s thing. I mean, even Beverly Hills Cop, of course, remember they're talking about Deutsche Mark stock or something from Europe. Like, it's just 80s. Everything's about stocks and bonds, and like a lot of movies, was all about that shit.
But very cool, older movie. Definitely go out there, recommend it, go watch it. But guys, I think that's about enough for me, man. Let's jump over to our article of the week. All right, Andy. Pick this article and Noel. It's from Fox News. Picky eater with food allergy is told she's childish and needs to get over this. So the article kind of goes into this lady. She is a picky eater, and her child is also a picky eater. And they kind of go into this like disorder that I've never even heard of before. ARFID disorder, basically where you avoid and you're kind of reluctant to eat certain foods. And they're saying that it's in the spectrum of autism. So that was the first time I've ever heard of that as well. But yeah, the article kind of goes into this lady and how she's been with her daughter dealing with it, and they're both picky eaters. She goes on a date because she is a single mom. Goes on a date, and then her date, this guy, what an asshole, is like cooks a meal for her, and then in cooking this meal, it's a bunch of foods that she really doesn't like and she can't eat. So it just goes into how they kind of go back and forth. And at first, the guy is really understanding. I guess they communicate slightly after the date, a day or so or whatever. And then he kind of brings it up again. And she puts this whole experience online. And obviously, everybody online is like, what an asshole of a guy to make you change this disorder and this problem. And yeah, I guess there's more into the article. It goes into a little more detail, goes into some of the comments from other people. But yeah, opening it up to you guys here, I kind of um, am somewhat sympathetic because my son is also a very picky eater, unlike me and Alana. We kind of eat almost anything. The only thing that I kind of don't dig too much is sushi, but even that I'm kind of turning around to. I've eaten a little bit more nowadays. but I know my son is pretty picky. So yeah, just not sure if any of this resonates with you, Andy. I know you got a new kid in your life, and I know he's kind of a picky eater. Does this kind of resonate with you?
So yeah, my kid's very picky, Danny. He's a toddler. He's gonna be 3 in about a month. So right now he asks constantly for pizza and ice cream. But we try to introduce him. We're Mexican. Try to introduce him to Mexican foods. He's not having any of that. The only protein he eats is like chicken nuggets, and once in a while he's slowing down on the hamburgers. And we used to cook up like ground beef, and he would eat some of the ground beef by itself, but he hasn't done that in a while. And yeah, man, uh, we'll see. I think I talked to you about it. I think it's just something a stage that they go through, but yeah, man, it's hard. My wife's like prepared. She's like looked into it and done all this shit, and he just sees it. He's like, I'm not eating that. He just pushes the plate away.
Yeah, this is definitely tough as a parent. So I understand the mother dealing with it with the daughter. Um, I like I mentioned, I'm not a really picky eater. There are some textures that kind of gross me out, but I could eat them, like oatmeal. I don't really dig oatmeal, but the texture just doesn't jive with me. That if that's all there is to eat, I'm gonna eat it. But if I have a choice, I'm like, I'd rather eat something else. Noel, reading this article, does any of this jive with you?
Um, so yeah, I don't want to get like ratioed here in my comments. I get it from you guys' perspective. You guys are looking from parents, right? And I'm looking at it more like a single guy, like that single guy, and he's like he prepared a dinner for this lady, and obviously she didn't like it. And I get for the daughter that's off, what is it called? Like you can't talk about it. Like it's off limits. Don't mess with, she's gonna defend her daughter. As soon as he said something about her, the lady was like in defense mode, and she was right to be. But in relation to the guy, the single guy dating this girl, her pickiness seems to be more psychological, less actual biology. I would get it if like, all right, you're allergic to shellfish, don't cook something with shellfish. And if you're allergic to, nuts, don't cook something with nuts. But if you think mayo is icky and you don't like it, it's like I get where the guy is coming from to joke. It's like, you're gonna have to get over this eventually. Who knows how he joked about it, right? But it probably was just a joke. And for her to like react the way she did, it just raises red flags. And ultimately, it seems like those two were not a match for each other. And he probably dodged a bullet. It would only be more difficult. And in on her side too, it wasn't a match for her either. Obviously, she wants a certain type of guy that's going to be accommodating to her diet and her daughter, and that's going to be very, very difficult to find as a single mother, to find somebody that's willing to take on an autistic child and then take on this psychological burden that she's carrying. So I'm empathetic for her situation, but I'm also like, this guy, he kind of dodged a bullet right there.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean the good part is that this was all found out early in the relationship. It sounds like it was barely like the second or third date. But yeah, man, this is something that with Junior dealing with it. Now, granted, he's opened up his palate a lot more in these recent years, but before he was like Andy's kid, where it was just pizza and cheeseburgers, and that was really it, man. There wasn't
Sounds awesome to me.
and like the usual junk food, like you know,
Yeah.
crackers and stuff like that. Fruits he was down with, but not much above that as well. But yeah, now he's eating a lot more. He's eating steak. He's eating quesadillas was a big no-no for him too, like melted cheese, kind of like this lady mentioned. But yeah, he's starting to eat that as well. So yeah, it's slowly growing. I hope he evolves more, just like me with the sushi. There was many years that I wouldn't even touch it. It just kind of grossed me out, raw fish. But now more and more I do taste it, and it does taste okay. It's not something that I crave and go out to get, but I can eat it, kind of thing. Where if I go to a party, if Andy invites me over to his house for a party and he's serving sushi, I can eat it and I'll maybe not enjoy it a ton. But yeah, I can eat it. So yeah, that's probably the hardest part of a lot of this. It just happened to us just a week or two ago. We went to a family party and they were serving, typical food for a party, kind of like pastas, some rice, and some other like protein. I think it was like a pork or something. And Junior doesn't like any of that, so he didn't eat anything. So it kind of sucked. We stayed shortly after we ate and chilled at the party a little bit. Then we have to leave because Junior hadn't eaten. So we got to go get something to eat for the kid. But yeah, I'm hoping that it grows out of it and gets a little better as time goes by.
But going back to the article real quick, it goes. I think she made a comment about the food, and then he snapped back. But then he goes, he apologized instantly, saying that he's not. It's not what he meant, and it was a stupidity, rude joke. I said I was sorry for calling his food gross, and it actually looked really good. Then they went to McDonald's. Like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
Like, that's why I'm just like, what? You can eat McDonald's, but you can't eat this homemade meal or whatever, because I get it, maybe mayo or whatever, vinegar. That's to me, when I read that, I'm like, then I don't know what to make of this. I'm not trying to be a dick here, but if you all agree to go get McDonald's, to me, that I know it's her daughter that has the issue. She's trying to abide by that. But yeah, they went to McDonald's afterwards, and I'm just like, I don't know. To me, that was a huge red flag. Not to be, I know Noel talked about being racial, but I don't want to sound like a dick. But to me, I'm just like, and then I don't know if it's a mental thing, but I understand the daughter's issue. But her, I think she's just trying to, be supportive of her daughter. But then I mean, like, then go to a healthy place. I don't know. That's to me. I'm like, I don't get this.
Well, so I looked it up, and it is a psychological thing, because this is the whole thing for me. If it was a biological thing and you have a nut allergy, you have a shellfish allergy, you can't eat lobster,
Right.
that's perfectly,
Mm-hmm.
we could follow that. But for people that are restrictive because in their mind they don't like it, and they don't like 90% of things, that is just it's a mental disorder. Like people with anorexia, like people with bulimia, things like that. And while I empathize with those people for what they're going through and what they're struggling, they if they care about themselves and the people around them, they will seek help for that. They won't just, you accommodate me because I'm special. It's like we're all going through something, but we meet each other halfway. We don't just force people to accommodate our
Yeah.
specialists.
Yeah. Of course.
Um,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
yeah,
It kind of reminds me of my parents. They used to just cook whatever they would cook. They would cook fajitas for dinner. And yeah, fajitas are not my favorite, but that's all mom cooked. That's what I'm going to eat. And it reminds me of those days where you just kind of got forced to eat stuff that you didn't like. When they made nopales, that's what you're going to eat, man. They're going to make hígado. Oh, man, it's just disgusting. But hey, you want to eat. That's what you're going to eat.
that's for sure. I remember on those days, I would have a little bit and then like coditos or
This is
something.
nasty. Yeah,
Right.
man.
Yeah, for sure.
But you got to do what you got to do. And yeah, it looks like for those two people, they weren't a match. So they'll have to find somebody else that,
I don't know,
suits what
man.
they're looking
You be
for.
buying her McDonald's, I think you got a shot in the wall.
I'm good, man. I'm gonna take
Bad.
like a solid pass on that one. But we do have to wrap it up here, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode on the Freeform Network. If you're not already, please follow us on X at FFR Podcast. And if you have any questions or suggestions for a topic you want us to cover, the email to drop that is ffnquestions@gmail.com. From Freeform Radio, my name is Noel, and we have Daniel.
Yes, sir, man. It was a good podcast. Hopefully the edit comes through together, and we will catch you on the next one.
And we got Andy.
It's all good, Andy. We want to thank you guys for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.
Well, I can get out of here. Go ahead and enjoy some pizza because I'm not that picky. But we wish you a great night and a beautiful tomorrow.
That was cool, Dad.